Hi, my name is Sydney Winram, and I've had a brain injury for over a decade now. I'm making this ranty YouTube video because there's a lot of stigma associated with having a brain injury or any kind of disability or impairment. Um, I recently got told I have this retard rage. Sorry to use the word, but there's a lot of things that people don't understand about someone with a brain injury, like specifically. Me in social. I don't know how to start this video, to be completely honest with you. I've never done a video before, and this is a spur of the moment, so it's not fully edited or anything like that, so I really apologize if it's bouncing all over the place constantly. I guess I'll start with how I started in the video that I didn't upload. When back in 2009 I got kicked in the head by a horse, which is how I got my brain injury. I was in and out of the hospital for about 6 months total. Lots of MRIs, CAT scans, there was a wheelchair at some point, a whole 9 yards. And kids being kids, after I got the brain injury, went back to school. I only went back to school for half days in school, and of course everyone knew about the brain injury. So I did get bullied a lot for it and called the R word countless times, and I think a lot of that led to me just having this anxiety and fear and shame about my brain injury. So I never really acknowledged it until now, and I'm almost halfway to 21. So now what's happening is it's hitting like a ton of bricks. And I know like people with Asperger's, like autism or Tourette's even, or any type of disability impairment who have gone through the same thing where they don't acknowledge it for a long time and then they acknowledge it and it hits you like a ton of bricks. So essentially what happens with my brain injury is I'm very impulsive. If you know me personally, you know that I do a lot of impulsive stuff. Like throughout the past 2 years, I think my appearance, like not even just my appearance, like my appearance, my personality, my hobbies, and everything have just rapidly switched, and they tend to gravitate towards which people I'm around. And that was also again like before I acknowledged my brain injury. Now that I'm acknowledging my brain injury, I'm just doing my own thing and stuff and everything. But everyone has like that need to like belong, but I feel like it's really amplified with having my brain injury. So it's really hard for me socially. I don't actually pick up on a lot of social cues sometimes, so I really, really struggle. I overanalyze situations I'm in, and my brain tends to go into overdrive in social situations, which is when, if someone's asking me like a lot of questions about, like, let's say a sensitive topic like politics or religion or something like that, and they get mad about something, or like there's even like a sliver of like them being irritated or something, I get really sensitive to that. And if it goes on for a long time, which it's very rare that it does, but I'll have an outburst, just because my brain's like working in overdrive, and it's just my way of being like, I can't deal with this right now. And if I can't get away from a situation, I'll have an outburst, and that will be like probably me just saying irrational shit and then coming back in like an hour or two and apologizing frantically. And it's not necessarily controllable either, but the way that I'd like to compare my brain injury to anything, because I'm an edgy piece of shit, is probably wearing cement shoes, walking into the ocean with a bag over your head that you can't see. It's just, it is really claustrophobic, living in your own head and being alienated by it all the time. And that's how it's felt. With the brain injury comes a lot of mental health issues as well. There's no way of me or my doctors even deviating if my mental health is my mental health or if it's caused by the brain injury. But I have really bad anxiety and depression, and a lot of it has to do with the brain injury. I just, like even in relationships, for example, I'm 20. It's like feels like fucked up for me to date, honestly, because I'm a person with a disability. Like I shouldn't be dating. Like not that that's like how I think of anyone with a disability, is just how I think about myself, like I'm not generalizing everyone with a disability. I'm just like my brain's fucked up. Like why am I dating? Why am I putting another person through all this bullshit? But yeah, like so it's really impacted that side of things. And then with friendships, sometimes if there's certain things that, or if my friends are, it doesn't mean that they're a bad person, but if I stop talking to you, it might just be because there was just so much going on that it was not your fault, but it was like, I don't know how to say this without sounding really shitty, but it's because I just felt like kind of uncomfortable in a certain sense. Oh my god, that lighting is horrible. But yeah, and I drop contact with a lot of people pretty frequently, and I do it just because I need a break, and I will probably still contact you down the road in a few weeks or months or whatever. It's also super frustrating because, like I said, like I'm 20, and there's also this whole, holy shit, this lighting. Sorry, it's annoying. There's also this whole like I need to belong somewhere, or I need to like figure out what I'm doing right now. Like I'm not even gonna front, my father and my mom are amazing. They are helping me out right now significantly. I've faced discrimination in the workplace, which yes, I'm going to hopefully legal action with a friend of mine, and I just have so much anxiety going back to work right now. My dad and my mom are both like, don't, like, you need to chill, you need to focus on your mental health and your brain injury right now, and learn more about it before you go back to work. I'm still trying to like side hustle, like selling rare house plants and stuff, and it's just, it's a mess right now. But yeah, no, I'm really lucky to have the support that I do. My family is beyond amazing and incredible. So are my close friends, and yeah, I mean, I don't have it the worst. I've seen worse cases of having a brain injury, but even if you've had a lot of concussions, you have small symptoms of a brain injury, they just may not be permanent. Mine is permanent, so those symptoms that you may have while you get a concussion are permanent for me. When I get tired, my irritability goes up. Like, I feel like everyone's like that, but mine is a little bit more increased. Irritability, and not in the sense that I get bitchy or anything like that, in the sense that I more like get like easily, like I just can't deal with situations, I guess. I don't really know. This is a really choppy video, I guess. But it sucks because for a lot of young people going through brain injuries, it's like you're on borrowed time in a sense with the programs that are out there and available to you. Like they're only 6-month long programs, and then you don't get support. It really depends. But also like going back to like not knowing what I'm gonna do and everything. Like I struggle a lot academically. It's not like I'm dumb or not smart. It's just I've struggled with keeping up with school academically, and like I've never graduated high school. I've tried online school, never graduated that. I went to college with an adult upgrading program. I never finished that. I'm not even sure if I have things credited so that I could technically graduate. So I like bounced around. I wanted to do marine biology. I'm passionate about all of these things. It's just I really struggle academically. I really wanted to do marine biology. I wanted to do philosophy. I wanted to do history. Then I wanted to just pursue lifeguarding a bit more. to like do all of these things, firefighter and all that. Also mentioning that I am a lifeguard. Some of the discrimination that happened is someone said because I have a brain injury and ADD that I'm incompetent and unable to do my job. That's bullshit. I loved my job. I took it really seriously. I talked about it with my dad all the time and everything, and it's just I went to get hired at another pool once I mentioned my brain injury. I got ghosted by that person doing the interview, and I never heard from them again after I mentioned my brain injury. It's not like I could prove that it's like from my brain injury or anything, but it's pretty, I mean, like, to me it really felt like it. So I just kind of stopped trying to find a job lifeguarding after that, but I'm hopefully getting back to it. But yeah, no, like, having ADD or a brain injury doesn't mean I can't pay attention. It doesn't mean that. I take medication for it as well. And when I'm lifeguarding in a pool, it's a lot different than bouncing around in a conversation, because that's how my ADD affects me. Is if there's a lot of clutter in the house, I get really bad anxiety, or if like there's just like a lot of noise or blah 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 blah. And I like bounce around a lot when I talk. That's about it. But when I'm lifeguarding, I'm paying the fuck attention. Like there's kids in pools and everything, and I've really experienced discrimination in the workplace as for lifeguarding with that, and it has really sucked. And there's been other jobs I've had where I've been made to feel dumb or belittled, and it's shit. Like, it gives you really bad anxiety, especially now. Like, I'm like, as I said, like, I haven't dealt with it for a decade, so I'm dealing with it now. So it's like, it's kind of like repeating itself, if that makes sense. Or it's like I'm reliving my brain injury a lot right now, and it's really hard. So having shitty jobs definitely does not help that much. But yeah, back to the social side of things. I think that like I've really struggled with a lot of social things. You know, I've tried to fit into the normal, like the hipster kind of vibe around the area where I live. I've had like the short pink hair. Like, I cut my hair off in a fit of rage. It was stupid. Don't do that. I've tried to fit in with like those edgy people. I don't know. Like, I feel like I look edgy as shit now. I have fucking blue hair, for God's sakes. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of just, before I left where I grew up from, I was being more myself, so I'm trying to go back to that stuff and reconnect kind of like with my passions and everything, and like actually figure things out. So I'm going back to doing music, even though, you know, it's like, I like constantly, like with it, whatever I do, I feel like everyone needs some types of reassurance, but like I will beat myself the hell up. I really, really, really need that reassurance and stuff. Like, I know, like, even if you don't necessarily think you're good at something, if you're passionate about it, you should still pursue it, I think. And that's what I'm doing with music and art right now. So those definitely keep me happier, and it's a lot easier to cope with certain things because I have a creative outlet. As well as, I'd also like to talk a little bit about another thing that's helped me, because I just know that there's a lot of closeted, so you will, people going through either head injuries or mental health issues where, you know, there may not be an outlet that they have, or that they know of yet. Mine has always been sports or the gym, has given me a sense of belonging. Specifically when I did powerlifting, it was more individual. I didn't do it well the first time, but now, like, I injured myself a year ago. I broke my foot and screwed up my ankle, so I was out for like a year, partly a year longer, because I was being a little bit of a depressed bitch. But getting back into things now, I'm lifting and doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai, and it's probably the best thing ever. I highly recommend that if you're having issues in your life to definitely try going to the gym, or for everyone to just try going to the gym, because it releases endorphins in the brain, and it, like, I can't really describe like how great of a release it is to um like do something, or like just even push yourself and see what your limits are and to get better at it. It's awesome. um Physical activity could be anything from like going for a walk. Swimming is a good way because it's no harsh impact on any of your joints if you have issues with your joints. um Anything, you don't have to do something with people. Like if money's an issue, like go for walks, go for hikes, do anything that you can, really, to push yourself somehow, that you can within your physical capabilities. And if you are not able to do those things physically, like I said, look and explore and try and find a creative outlet, because it's helped me like quite a bit, and I think it could really help other people. um I'm not trying to speak or sound like I know a lot of stuff. I'm just kind of ranting because a person I sold a plant to, that's my little side hustle, I sell rare house plants, I sold a plant to get money for my cat's surgery. My cat has pododermatitis, which is an autoimmune disorder which affects his gums and his feet. So he had pillow paw when I first got him, and he had to get 16 teeth removed, and he has a surgery coming up, and I needed to make money for that because I obviously, like, I don't want my dad and my mom to have to pay for my cats, as they're my responsibility. And yeah, I sold a $55 plant to someone while I was in Tofino, and my boyfriend at the time, and my ex, I guess now, sold this plant and left it out, and for the lady to come pick up. She's bought plants for me before, everything's fine, and then gets this plant, and I come back 2 weeks later from Tofino, nothing has been e-transferred to me. At this point, my ex is trying to reach out, my friend is trying to reach out to this person, I'm trying to reach out, and nothing. And then I went on my old Facebook, and I messaged this person, I said, hey, like, and it kind of went on, because this person was being very avoidant, and it was getting really, really frustrating, because this is money for my cat, and it's been over a month and a half now at this point. I was just being persistent. I wasn't calling anyone names, or I wasn't being rude, and I was just being persistent, and like I would type in all caps and be like trying to highlight my point, like, you need to pay for the thing that you took. And this person wrote a post about how she collects individuals with brain injuries, and she's starting to feel like some sort of sympathy for their retard rage. And I was like, so when I advocate for myself, apparently I have retard rage now. So that kind of sent me, that really kind of triggered me into an anxiety attack. But luckily I went to a buddy's house, and I jammed, and we wrote some music and stuff, which I've never done before. So it was really nice to actually finally do that and play with someone else. And that really, really helped. But yeah, I don't really know how to end this video off, but needless to say, I think people need to show a lot more empathy, especially around the world with someone with a disability. I don't look like I have a brain injury. When you look at me, you don't see a brain injury. You see a normal girl in her 20s. It's really easy for people to discredit or devalue an injury that is invisible and that you can't see. You have an invisible injury as someone with a brain injury, which makes it really hard, because I've been told I'm making excuses, or I'm lazy, or all this stuff, and it's like I'm not making excuses by saying certain things. Like, I know one was just like I nap. I like nap a lot throughout the day, but I still do stuff, but I nap a lot throughout the day, and that's because my brain is in overdrive, because it's really ramped up right now, especially dealing with the brain injury more. So when that happens, I just get tired more often. It's really common with people with brain injuries as well. Like, that's just an excuse. I don't really know how to just give you a specific example of that one. I'd have to work on that in a different video. I'll probably address that in a different video with proper editing and proper subtitles. I feel awful for not having subtitles, as I have a friend who is hearing impaired, and you know, it's a frustrating thing to go through. Like any disability or impairment. So I will be trying my best to write this out in the comment section for those who are hearing impaired, so they can still be able to read what I said, because I think some of what I said may be important, maybe, to someone. And I just really want to bring more awareness to people with brain injuries, especially. There's a really low lack of funding in the program that I'm in, and in a lot of brain injury programs here in Canada. And I also think it's just so misunderstood. There's so much stigma associated with having a brain injury. You know, like, years ago, with my brain injury, I probably would have been in an asylum, literally. You could look up the history of people with the brain injuries and what happened to them, and there was a lot of abuse and going into asylums and all this stuff, and just mental health is a really tricky subject, and it's really important to talk about still, though, especially like having it go hand in hand. If you're going through anything, you know, it could correlate with a brain injury. You could somehow get something out of this. I don't know. But this is just my rant. I've been going through some shit lately, I guess, but I'm lucky enough to have some awesome friends and supportive people. To anyone who has watched this whole video, I really, really appreciate it. I'll be posting hopefully more stuff soon. Again, I just want to bring awareness to the whole brain injury thing and mental health. And yeah, I really appreciate whoever has watched this thus far, or even has watched some of it. I know it's a long video, and I'm probably bouncing all over the map, so it's hard to follow. But thank you so much, and I will hopefully be posting another video that is less all over the map soon.